couple songs that seem they just fit in the key of C at the fourth fret. The first one was, of course, a lesson that I got together this week on Kieran Keynes' I Can't Wait. Beautiful tune and fairly simple. Oh, by the way, it's Friday, September 23rd. Welcome back to the real world. First week after camp for me, and for a lot of people. So, but it was really fun to get back to putting lessons together and things. And as I talked about with the Kieran Kane tune a couple of weeks ago when it got suggested, I thought, well, this is a fairly simple song. You really just have to do some kind of normal finger picking. Doesn't really require, like what I just played there for I'm the Light of This World. But it also gave me an opportunity to put together a kind of beginning finger picking ideas. And so the lesson goes into a couple of things that are really, really cool, I thought. One was talking about capoing to different frets and playing in different keys. And by playing in the key of E here, where I'm at the fourth fret in C, sort of opened the door to playing the same thing open, or at the second fret, which I'd be playing it in the key of D, which would give me the opportunity So you get really neat little, different subtleties with each different chord shape. The E shape's open, the D shape's at the second, C shape's at the fourth, A's and G's even further up the neck. So hope you get a chance to check out that lesson, because there's a lot of theory and useful stuff in there to carry over into other songs. And then the other lesson this week, this was really cool. Something for the ukulele from Nesh. And another thing that's very basic, and if you learn the chords on the ukulele, it's pretty much just like, you have the same shapes, but it's as if you're having a guitar capo to the fifth fret, which means a shape that you're familiar with as a D is a G. This all sort of ties in with my lesson on on triads, using triads to play second guitar parts. So, a couple really interesting lessons this week. The tip I'm going to get to talk about is some basic finger picking ideas, because that's really what I Can't Wait went into. Less of a, you got to learn to do the patterns note for note the same every time. No, that's not the idea with finger picking. Tons and tons of songs really should be different every time you play them, whether it's the Boxer or Poncho and Lefty or Jim Croce tunes, James Taylor songs. Make it up as you go. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So if I was going to play a song like just the chord progression there to Puff the Magic Dragon, I was kind of picking out the melody, but if I was just going to accompany singing it, it could be a very simple pattern. Mixing up different patterns. So I guess I'm going to get to this now. That's all. I should tell you a little bit more about camp. Then I'll get to the finger picking. Camp was a blast, and we had like the perfect mix of people, different levels, from very beginners up to very accomplished players, and really just a good mix of. We had about 20 people who had been to many camps. We had 5 or so who were at our last year was their first one. Then we had about 5 new ones. So it was a really good mix of 30 people, roughly 10 women, 20 men. Pretty high mix of compared to the ratio of men to women in the guitar playing world, I think. And great songwriters. The songwriting class did a fabulous job putting together a song for the last night. And again, a lot of what we really push there is, or encourage, push is a bad word there probably, is performance, playing in front of people. And it's a really easy audience to play for because everybody is still kind of new at it. So anyway, if you're thinking about joining us, check out the page, internationalguitarcamp.com, and we'll be doing this again next year, September 11th to the 15th. 4.5 days, really. Okay, let me get back to my fingerpicking tip of what I want to talk about here, and that is the first thing I have people at the beginning of their fingerpicking career work on two things. One is a simple arpeggio, one note at a time, A minor. And you could work on House of the Rising Sun or Hallelujah. Hallelujah is a great one for this. G to E minor, 6-note arpeggio. And the E minor, you don't even have to put any notes down because we're not playing those strings. And just getting a smooth sound of 6 equal notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And so these are both in, well, particularly Hallelujah is in 6/8 time. So we need to feel like the fourth one of those, 1, 2, 3, is the second accent. So that's the first thing to work on, arpeggios. The next thing is playing a C chord and getting a steady start your thumb going back and forth, playing quarter notes, playing notes on the beats, and then then you're going to start playing fingers just in between them at the speed of eighth notes. So your first finger will play the third string, second finger will play the second string, and your ring finger will play the first string. So the first exercise is just put your first finger in between each of those bass notes. You can leave some out once in a while, and if you do, make sure your thumb stays at the same speed. Then work in your second finger instead. Then work on alternating those fingers, thumb 1, thumb 2. And then you're ready to tackle landslide. Okay, that's what I want to talk about this week as far as a good tip. If you haven't done much finger picking, work on those exercises first. Let's see. That's A minor, huh? I'm thinking of an old Joan Baez song right here, Sweet Sir Galahad. Let's see if I can piece that back together. She played it at Woodstock. That's kind of what I mean by generic picking, though. Just kind of keep mixing up patterns, and other patterns you can use. You start working in pinches where you're playing a note with the bass note. You can take a look at my Fingerpicking 101 whole course on that, but also taking a look at just some good beginning fingerpicking tunes, like the one Landslide, Dust in the Wind, Blackbird, all of those. Heavy recommendations. That's it. I'm not really sure what's going to be happening next week. We got one more little busy thing going on here with family stuff, and then back to working on lessons. So I'd really like to see some more suggestions. I really thought that Kieran Kane one was a great suggestion, and I know there are a few more up there that have been sort of floating around, but give me some thoughts as to what else you think I need to do to get for the next batch of songs here at Totally Guitars.